And good evening, everybody. It's John Phillips, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, live and in color on a Tuesday evening. The snow starting to kind of melt away with the rain. Let's hope that the white stuff stays away for a little while. We are live until 8 p.m. this evening, and I guess we can lead with a non-quasi Steelers or Pittsburgh sports story, as within the past hour, Baltimore Ravens announcing that John Harbaugh will not return for a 19th season as their head coach. He was fired this evening after failing to clinch the AFC North and a playoff spot. Tyler Loop's 44-yard field goal to end game number 272 in the NFL schedule this year goes wide right, and it costs John Harbaugh his job after 18 seasons, a remarkable run, second oldest tenured head coach in the National Football League, only behind Mike Tomlin, 180 regular season wins, went to the playoffs 12 times, 4 AFC title game appearances. He, of course, was a winner in Super Bowl 47 and also the winningest head coach in franchise history. So the Pittsburgh Steelers deliver yet another blow to the Baltimore Ravens franchise. If you're just tuning in, thanks for joining us. We'll get to some of your comments in a few moments. If you have a comment or something you want to say, you're welcome to drop it in the comments section. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching us on It's a Wrap Sports Network, or perhaps even on our YouTube channel at Steel City Sunday, welcome to our broadcast. We do an hour of Pittsburgh sports talk 2 nights a week, Mondays and Tuesdays. Once my work schedule starts to take shape here in the next few weeks, I would like to announce some more shows in the evening time at 7 o'clock. The plan is to go 4 nights a week at 7 p.m., just to give you an idea of where I'm heading with what I'm doing here. A live hour, 4 nights a week, but my day schedule will dictate quite a bit of that for me. This is more of just a chance for me to stretch my pipes a little bit and talk about other things besides football, although we are in the thick of the NFL playoffs, obviously, with the wild card weekend approaching, and of course 6 football games on tap. Our pregame coverage of Steelers and Texans on Monday is going to start at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. I want to make that real clear. We are going to be broadcasting live from the North Park Lounge, Richland, and the Hilltop Event Center. Our title sponsor has been very good to us all season long, making sure we get on the air each week, taking care of our regulars in terms of making sure that they're getting paid and coming on and working to provide a quality pregame show. We want to do something that we think is going to be enjoyed by people. We do a lot of programming in the pregame, obviously 4 to 5 hours. Next year it'll be primarily just a pregame show, but 4 hours and stretch it to 5 on the 4 o'clock kicks and the evening kicks as well. We just want to continue to do the programming and content into the springtime. So like I had mentioned, a lot that going into what I think is going to be a building for our content and programming on this particular channel. But yes, the big story obviously in the NFL, and that means there are 2 openings now in the AFC North. Kevin Stefanski was let go in Cleveland. You've got Harbaugh now gone. So 2 of the 4 head coaching positions in the AFC North are open. And if I'm Baltimore, I'm going after Brian Flores. If I'm Cleveland too. Although if I'm Brian Flores, I probably want to avoid Cleveland. It's a snake bit franchise. I don't care what anybody says. There's just certain franchises out there that are perpetually snake bit. And Cleveland is certainly one of them. But I would be shocked if Brian Flores is not head coach of an NFL team come the next 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the cycle is here, as we have 6 openings and vacancies. I think it's 6. It might actually be 7. We have vacancies now in the NFL. And so you've got a number of teams that are obviously looking right now for head coaches. The Ravens joined the other teams that have created openings here as we are now in the beginning of the offseason. It is six head coaching positions that are open right now in the NFL. the Baltimore Ravens job just opening up about an hour ago. The New York Giants are looking for a head coach. I mentioned Cleveland earlier. Atlanta got rid of Raheem Morris. So there was that news. Arizona sent Jonathan Gannon packing after just 3 years. Of course, the Tennessee Titans are looking for a new head coach as well. If I'm Baltimore, I'm going after Brian Flores hard. I want him, right? You want him. That guy is a pretty good defensive mind. You can say what you want about how things ended in Miami. The fact of the matter is that guy deserves another crack at an NFL head coaching job, and he's a very, very good, solid defensive mind. So I think that has been proven, and I think Brian Flores is going to have a head coaching job in the next few weeks. He'll interview probably a couple of – if I'm every team that's open with a job right now, I'm contacting his agent immediately. He is getting a call absolutely immediately. I heard Jason Garrett is now shopping around. He's been at NFL Network for a while. Looks like he might be trying to get back on a sideline after spending some time in television. But again, if you're just joining us and you haven't heard, John Harbaugh out in Baltimore as head coach after 18 seasons. That's certainly some big news. Certainly some big news to start the evening. Okay, we will have some of the Mike Tomlin press conference from earlier today. It is a Tomlin Tuesday, as the head coach talked in depth on the South Side today about the upcoming opponent, that being the Houston Texans. The Texans coming into this game 11-6, I believe the record is. Just a strong finish to the end of the season. Offensively, not great, but defensively, as good as any team in the NFL. They ranked second in points allowed. They ranked first in yards per game allowed, fifth in yards per pass. Their EPA was first. Their EPA against the pass was first. They were second in EPA rush, second in success rate. The list goes on and on. They were third in takeaways with 29. Houston certainly has a very solid football team. And I'm just telling you right now, they're going to be loaded for bear. DeMarco Ryans has done a great job in Houston as their head coach. Defensively, however, it's really that at front four that the Steelers are going to have to deal with. Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter, very, very tenacious on that defensive side. DK Metcalf coming back. Well, he's going to have to deal with Derek Singletary. Derek Stingley, so at the cornerback position, Miles Brandt's pretty good in the secondary at safety. But that defensive unit is all that in a bag of chips. They are going to come into Heinz Field and they are going to they're going to try to assert their dominance on Monday. Now, as we talk about this setup, and one of the things that I wanted to definitely get into early on was the fact that, this franchise has struggled going on the road in the playoffs. They have not won a road playoff game. They're 0-6 as a franchise. You couple that with the fact that Mike Tomlin is, again, an underdog in a position where nobody is taking the Steelers to win, right? Mike Tomlin has proven that primetime games, Monday night games, he's undefeated at home. As the week continues to progress, and I said this on Sunday, if they beat Baltimore, they'd be an underdog at home, and the scenario that played out last week could very well play itself out again this week. You do get DK Metcalf back, and that's good. So we'll see what kind of personnel the Steelers are going to run against that defense. If they go heavy, if they decide that they are going to, run a couple tight end sets, they're going to use Gainwell out of the backfield, use Jaylen Warren out of the backfield, try to get quick screens, try to get quick hits. Maybe Adam Thielen, who had a really nice game, his best game in a Steelers uniform. I don't know, Mean Green. Questions are starting to come in here. Is Derek Stingley the grandson of the late Darryl Stingley? I don't know. That's a great question. I believe you're talking about the receiver who played for the New England Patriots that was paralyzed in a hit that Jack Tatum, I believe, delivered back in the 70s. I believe that's your question. That's a good question. It's something I can try to look up for you. Something I can try to look up for you while we get when we get to Mike Tomlin. We'll get to Mike Tomlin in about 10 minutes. I don't want to play the entire presser, but I definitely want to give you a good 10 or 15 minutes of Mike Tomlin's press conference today. If you were busy like I was, didn't really get a chance to catch much of it today. Just a little bit busy during the daytime. Caught a few comments online via X from some of the reporters that were, obviously talking about some of the quotes that Tomlin was giving. We'll get to Mike Tomlin's conference at about 10 minutes from now. But so, how the Steelers are going to attack Houston is going to be interesting, right? It took them at least a half on Sunday evening to get their running game going, and Jaylen Warren specifically. Kenny Gainwell was once again, very dynamic. 8 receptions, had that nice rushing touchdown that culminated that drive early in the fourth quarter. That was just a great effort by the Steelers overall. And what more can we say again about Aaron Rodgers? 47 pass attempts. I think he's probably going to hit 35 pass attempts, maybe 40 pass attempts in this game. I don't know if the Steelers are going to be able to run the ball against this team. I don't know. They're going to try, as they should, but I think we're going to see a healthy dose of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm okay with that. If we go down with the ship that way, because this defense is that good, I'm not going to be calling for Mike Tomlin's firing. Let's just say that. And we know that he's not going to be fired, obviously, right? They won the division. By all accounts, another 10-win season. Art Rooney II is clearly the complacency. Even if they lose a close game, understandable. I don't anticipate any kind of coaching change whatsoever. I don't anticipate Mike Tomlin saying he doesn't want to coach next year here in Pittsburgh. I've said all along, Mike Tomlin wants to be the all-time winningest head coach of the franchise. And he'll be able to get it with his first regular season victory next year. That's the last feather in his cap while completing 20 seasons here. That's just my opinion. And he has every right to that. I think that's something that is pretty much earmarked as a certainty. More of your comments. If you want to drop a comment, you can. Mean Green sticking around saying the city of Pittsburgh needs to get hyped for the game Monday night. He was able to experience a Monday night game in Pittsburgh at Three River Stadium. I can't ever forget. I have some great memories of the old concrete bowl, Mean Green. I was actually talking about one of them last night with Jerry DePaula. I was on hand for that game in '92 against the Houston Oilers when Al Del Greco missed a game-winning field goal against Pittsburgh, in a similar scenario where he missed to the north part of the end zone, and it was wide to the right, and I was standing right underneath the goalpost. I was standing literally on the field underneath the goalpost. I happened to be on the field for that game, covering it for Jet TV. I was an intern in 1992 up in Erie, Pennsylvania at the ABC affiliate, and was at that game. And I was at the AFC Championship game when they beat Indianapolis. Lots of great memories. Lots of great memories of Three River Stadium, Rod Woodson pick 6 against the New Orleans Saints. So much that went down in that building for many, many years. Certainly got a chance to see my share of games, and it'll be electric. It'll be electric. Haven't had a home playoff game obviously since the COVID year, and even prior to that. Boy, I'm trying to think here. I don't know. It might be 2012. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the divisional game. The divisional game against Jacksonville. That was those are the last 2 home playoff games that the Steelers have had. And they've been losses. They haven't won a home playoff game in quite some time. Something I'll try to look up here when we get to Mike Tomlin here in just a few moments. It is Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. Again, as I mentioned, Steel City Sunday pregame show is going to be 3 p.m. on Monday from the North Park Lounge in Richland, the Hilltop Event Center. You're going to want to check that out for sure. We're excited to be able to have you join us on Monday at 3 o'clock for our pregame show. And don't forget, if you're not on any of our social media platforms, especially on YouTube or on our X platform, please give us a follow at Steel City Sunday on all the social media websites. Okay, let's bring the Mike Tomlin press conference in. Let's see if we can get the sound figured out today. Mike Tomlin press conference coming your way here in just a few.
Going to can't be penalized in that phase of the game, and particularly from a return perspective, negating the chance of any field flipping plays or any significant plays that way. We just can't run the risk of that. I've been pleased with our punting and gunning in the punt phase. It's been minimal return yards. Really over the course of the season, we've had minimal return yards. I think we got 170 return yards in the punt return game in 17 games, and that's certainly solid. And I think Sunday night was reflective of that as well. On defense, I thought largely down in and down out, we did what we needed to do to minimize the impact of Derrick Henry. It certainly didn't start that way. He broke that big run early. That's a credit to him. It's a credit to them strategically in terms of identifying a schematic that they wanted to assault us with. But I just thought down in and down out, we did what we needed to do schematically in terms of allocating our guys and planning the appropriate front structure. And I think in turn, our guys did what was required of them. We put a lot on our men up front. We create one-on-ones with our bigs up front. We require our bigs to win those battles. the two running backs on the run. They were impactful in the check down game, winning one-on-one opportunities in the flat and so forth, and turning short gains into longer ones. And that, quite frankly, has been a recipe for how we functioned all year, those two guys, and their ability to win in the flat and win in check down like circumstances. I thought that was significant. I thought also, as the game wore on, our third down conversion rate, and particularly our ability to win some longer ones. We converted a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 8, I think, all in the second half. And I thought that those were building blocks of ball possession and scoring drives. And certainly the efforts of Aaron Rodgers is always helpful. As we've talked a lot in these environments and circumstances, he's just got a unique resume, a unique talent, a unique thirst for significant moments. And I'm never surprised when he smiles in the face of adversity and delivers for us, as he did on Sunday night. And so thankful for that. From an injury perspective, in game, we got some bumps and bruises associated with play, and that may limit some people at the early portions of the week, but thankfully we came out of it relatively well. Everyone that returned to action last week, from TJ to Isaac Seumalo to Calvin Austin, James Pierre, Brandon Eccles, all were able to participate without any steps backwards. And so thankful for that. We're a relatively healthy group as we lean in on the single elimination tournament, and so excited about that. Now I'll turn my attention toward Houston. Man, they're a top-notch group. They need no endorsement from me. They're winners of 9 straight. And when you win 9 straight games, there's usually a mode of operation, and it certainly is. They're a group that takes very good care of the football as a collective. I think they have 10 turnovers on the season. That's number 1 in football. I think they're number 3 with 27 takeaways on defense. And so you talk about complementary football. They got an offense that's the best in the world at securing it. That's 3rd best. And I think that's the building blocks of 9 consecutive wins. I'll start first on offense. I think the strength of the pack is the pack. I think they've displayed that in a lot of ways over the course of the journey. Certainly, they went through an adjustment at the early stages of the season playing without Joe Mixon, but they've certainly found a nice division of labor in Woody Marks and Mr. Chubb. Those guys have done an awesome job in terms of dividing the labor up and running the ball for those guys. As I mentioned, their ball security is top tier. Neither one of those guys or no one in their backfield has put the ball on the ground this season. They got some quality young eligibles in Higgins and Noel from Iowa State. They've done a nice job of growing and evolving over the course of the season. There's certainly assets to their passing game and good supplements to Nico Collins. Collins is a big-time one-on-one playmaker. He's oftentimes on the backside of formations. You get in single high defensive structure. He's in one-on-ones with corners, and he wins a lot of them. He makes the big boy catches. He can run through traffic and run the in-breaking routes. He's good down the field on 50-50. probably the most dynamic edge rush tandem in the National Football League in 2025. They got 27 sacks between them. I think it's 12 for Anderson, 15 for Hunter. They're a formidable group. You can talk about the things that you need to do schematically to minimize them and all of that. There's nothing that they haven't seen. We better stay out of a bunch of one-dimensional passing circumstances, because if we're in those circumstances, we're going to be in trouble. And that's just the reality of it. They do a good job of being aggressive and combative in coverage. They got a really good secondary. Petrie, their safety / nickel, is very versatile, and he displays that versatility on the back end and in safety circumstances, and also in his ability to cover and blitz as a nickel. They got a real good linebacker tandem, man, that's highly active and productive. They minimize big plays. I was just looking at their statistical profile. They're top 5 in most statistical categories. Moments really in all a 3rd and 14, I think, versus Jacksonville, where Davis Mills scrambles into the corner of the end zone to give them a late win at home, versus those guys, for example. But you don't get in this tournament unless you had your moments. You certainly don't win 9 straight unless you have continuity and complementary play. They're good in all 3 phases. I think about D'Amico Ryans when I watched their tape and how he played the game and the tip of the cap. I think Houston, Texas played collectively the way that he did. They're tough and smart. They play to win. They play with emotion, as I mentioned. And so, man, really excited. Don't take home playoff games for granted. Certainly don't take home night playoff games for granted, man. It's an honor to be in this position, excited about it. But I and we show respect to that by training with an edge and preparing with great urgency. And I'm looking forward to a full week of doing so with our collective. Certainly awesome to have DK back, but we're not going to exhale and think that DK automatically with his presence is going to be a difference or the difference. Football is the ultimate team game. It's going to require great effort from all parties involved, but certainly excited about doing it with them. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
What did you learn about your offense, if anything, without DK?
I just think sometimes when you're lacking significant players, it's opportunities for others to show what they're capable of and to accelerate growth and development and cohesion in other areas. Adam Thielen, for example, is a new acquisition for us, and he made some significant plays for us in recent weeks, and that cohesion has probably been years that he's been here and called upon. He's displayed some of that in some significant moments over the last several weeks as well. Again, as I've mentioned, our running backs have been a major component of our passing game in recent weeks. Maybe not down the field, but their ability to turn short into longer has bridged the gap for us in a lot of ways. I think we lead the league in yards after catch as a collective for the season. And I think the running backs are central to that. And I think we all grow as strategists. I think as a collective, as a coaching staff, when you're faced with adversity, it's important that you pivot. There's an expiration date on adjustments, and certainly we had to make some adjustments. We felt the effects of it in Cleveland, but as I mentioned in this setting, paid, and quarterback receiver combination is significant. And so it's not only, DK missing games, but he missed practices and those balls elsewhere daily in practice. And so certainly I'm sure there was some residual benefit in terms of him doing so, not only in the 2 games, but in the 2 weeks.
Mike, you guys, the offense struggled against the Browns. You guys were putting the effort in to stop Miles Garrett as a pass rusher. Now you're dealing with 2 elite edge rushing threats. Hit you guys against offense.
Let me be clear. I've mentioned this several times, but you guys don't seem to hear me. We didn't do anything uniquely against the Cleveland Browns from a protection standpoint that we don't always do when we play the Cleveland Browns. We did the same thing the first time we played Cleveland. We won the game. We scored more points. He had 0 sacks. And so there was no significant sea change. We certainly got a challenge this week because they have a formidable tandem. But as I mentioned, we better do a really good job of minimizing the amount we're in those one-dimensional circumstances.
They move those 2 guys around a lot. They tend to kind of be where they are.
They move them around, but, should they move one to one side, they move up the other one to the other side.
Beef, pork.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to play all of it. I just wanted to play a good portion of it so we get a taste, feel for what Mike Tomlin is saying. And clearly, he is as a collective, Mike Tomlin is getting prepared for Monday and the Houston Texans. I want to say the Oilers so bad. That powder blue just hits differently. It really does. And I know that all of that history went to Tennessee with the Titans. I don't know why, but it did. And the Texans are coming into this game with a real fierce defense. And by the way, for the record, I think it was Bruce Harper, or no, I take that back. It was Mean Green. Darryl Stingley Jr. is the grandson of Darryl Stingley, the man who was the wide receiver for the New England Patriots that was paralyzed in a game against the Oakland Raiders. So I did get a chance to look that up. So there answers your question there. We've got a comment coming in from Bruce Harper. I feel Tomlin is not qualified anymore, but we won, so maybe we're stuck another year or two with him. We listen, and I appreciate the comment. He is qualified. He's 19 years in the league. Okay, the frustration of 8 years of not losing or not winning a playoff game is buried within your comment. You know, if they had won some playoff games and made a run or two, maybe gotten to a Super Bowl or at least another conference championship game of some kind, or won a couple of playoff games and got to an AFC title game where they lost a close one, I think we would see that as, effort in terms of, getting back to a Super Bowl, right? What we have seen over the last 8 years is just embarrassment. And that frustration has built over time. And Tomlin's warts have shown, right? The spotlight has, intensified, and especially from the national media, especially in the last 2 seasons, the national media finally starting to, see that Tomlin has kinks in the armor. He just does. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again here now to the handful of you that are watching. I appreciate those of you that are here, whether it's on our X page or It's a Wrap Sports or on our YouTube channel. I've said that every coach has an expiration date, right? Somebody in the comments, it was Bruce Harper saying, "Hey, I feel like he's got an expiration date." All coaches do. All coaches do. But again, this unique scenario here where in Pittsburgh, we don't fire coaches. That's the illusion, right? That's the illusion. As I've said, and you can talk to any of the historians, Ed Bouchette said this, I think, on the pregame show. And I knew this afterwards as I began my sports career. But, Ed Bouchette, in one of our pregame shows a few weeks back, made it clear. When Dan Rooney went to Chuck Nolan after the 91 season and said, "That's it, you're done," Chuck Nolan announced his retirement. Chuck wanted to keep coaching, and Dan said no. And when Bill Cowher wanted more money in 2007, and Dan said no, Bill decided to step away from the game. Okay, in this particular case, it's going to be about what Mike Tomlin wants. Ownership will never tell Mike Tomlin, "You're done." They just won't. I don't believe they will. That's just my gut on the whole situation. It'll be Mike Tomlin's. And I think next year will be a real defining year for Tomlin. He'll have the all-time wins record. Maybe he gets a playoff win here. And, a playoff win does not signify success as far as I'm concerned. A playoff win and a loss in the divisional signifies progress. That's what I'm looking for. I have no delusions of grandeur here. I don't expect this team to get to the Super Bowl. I don't expect this team to get to the Super Bowl. Can they make a run? Yeah, they're one of 7 teams in the AFC in the tournament. They could make a run. But I don't believe they will, because you're going to have to run the gauntlet through at least one other, more than likely, road playoff game, unless the 5 and the 6 seeds win. If the 5 and the 6 seeds win, then yeah, you're going to get another home game. that might be able to put you into a spot where you can play for an AFC championship. And if you end up getting the 5 seed and you beat them and the 6 beats the 1, now you've got 3 at home. So it is possible, but I don't think their chances of getting to a Super Bowl, I think their chances of getting to a Super Bowl are probably 5%. That's where I'd put it. That's just my 2 cents on it all. Bruce Harper checking in again via our YouTube channel. Yes, you've stated it just as I feel, but I just couldn't find the right words. That's okay. Sometimes I can't find the right words. This is Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. I'm John Phillips. So pleased to be able to talk with you folks again. It's been quite a while. Again, as I mentioned, by the end of January, we'll be moving to 4 nights a week at 7 o'clock here on this channel, on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, and, of course, here live on X. And, as I said earlier, the It's a Wrap Sports Network. That's right. We are part of a group of shows, It's a Wrap Sports, based out of Philadelphia. Matty B and his crew were kind enough to pick up some of our programming this year, and we broadcast as part of It's a Wrap Sports. They have nightly shows. They have daily shows. Matty B has his show each night at 9 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, The Final Word. They've got all kinds of other programs. If you like gambling, you can check out Mike Loro. He hosts Props, Locks, and Parlays. The It's a Wrap Sports Network puts us on the air, and we can't thank them enough. And as I mentioned earlier, of course, North Park Lounge, Richland Hilltop Event Center, that's where we broadcast our pregame show. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, stop out Monday. Great spot, great location, lots of drink specials and great food. We'll be there at 3 o'clock on Monday with our pregame show. And as always, we hope to continue on here. We'd like to get 4 more shows. We got 1. We're going to hopefully get 3 more. Portions of tonight's show are brought to us by Arch Masonry and Restoration. Arch Masonry and Restoration, looking for brick masons, block masons, concrete finishers, and labor help. If you're in the construction trades and you're not working right now and you do one of those jobs, contact Arch Masonry and Restoration, 412-564-5733, or visit their website at archmasonryinc.com. As I produce my show here, folks, it's me making all these little clicks and buttons and things like that. I love to learn new stuff. And this whole YouTube thing, I should have probably started it a decade ago, like I was told to, but I'm doing it now. And I'm having a good time actually at it. And I'm going to figure out some more things. I like to add sound. I like to add different things to, I think, the show. I think it's important. We had Jerry D on last night. He was gracious with his time. I'm going to book more guests. I'm working on something right now as far as an interview is concerned. And if I can get it, I'm going to be so excited. It'll be hopefully maybe for next week. I'm trying to find the right timing for it. But as I expand programming into 4 nights a week, I want to make sure that I'm trying to, get guests on each night for 10 or 15 minutes. And, obviously we want to make sure your comments are read as well. So if you have anything that you want to add, you are welcome to do so. We'll be on the air for at least another 10 more minutes as we wrap up closer to 8 p.m. I do think that on Monday, it's really going to come down to Aaron Rodgers. I anticipate him probably throwing the ball 40 times again. I just don't think we're going to be able to run the ball, and they're going to have to throw downfield. That's going to create problems for Rodgers, especially with the pass rush. We mentioned the pass rush of the Houston Texans. They're going to get after him, so it's going to have to be quick. And the offensive line. I will say this: the Steelers' offensive line has been very, very strong as of late. They've played exceptionally well. Troy Fontenot, one in particular, just to talk about him. We've gotten great offensive line play as of late. So if they can give Aaron Rodgers 3.5 seconds, if they can do that enough times, I think Adam Thielen, I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think Kenny Gainwell out of the backfield, Jalen Warren out of the backfield, Pat Freiermuth down the middle of the field. I think the Steelers need to attack the middle of the field more. If they can protect Aaron just enough, 3 seconds, 3.25 seconds, I think the Steelers have an opportunity to move the ball on this team. I just don't think they're going to be able to run the football. And Aaron Rodgers right now is clicking, right? Obviously, he had a rough game against the Cleveland Browns. A lot of teams, struggled offensively against the Browns all season, even though they only won 5 games. Still a top 5 defense, through most of the season. You can't say enough about Aaron Rodgers. If there's a prop bet on Monday that makes sense, it's Aaron Rodgers 40 pass attempts to me. At least 35. I played over 34 and it hit by 13. I think we see another 40 pass attempt day from him. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying that that's probably what's going to be needed to win. Him throwing the ball 40 times is going to be necessary. Will I be at Acrisure Stadium on Monday? Mean Green, no. My days of covering live sporting events when it pertains to the Steelers, I think are in the rear view mirror. I did cover the Riverhounds all season for the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. I do still write for them. I'm actually meeting somebody tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I'm doing a feature, and I don't want to spill the beans, but he's a pretty big name. He's a pretty big name in the world of professional wrestling. That's all I want to say. Going to have an article in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review coming down the pike here real soon. Got a nice meeting, lunch set up tomorrow with somebody. I like my writing assignments. At 55 to get a writing assignment like I did was enjoyable. And to cover a championship run, especially the Riverhounds, because I was a part of the naming of the franchise 27, 28 years ago. I was their first media relations director. It was a shock when I reached out to the Trib and the sports editor and just said, "Hey, can I do some feature writing, or do you need anybody to cover an Avonworth game?" And there he was like, "Yeah, why don't you just cover the Riverhounds for us?" I was like, "Oh," and they go on a championship run. But no, I will not be at Acrisure Stadium on Monday for the game. I have no interest in going to NFL games anymore. I've covered enough of them. I told my editor, I said, if during the baseball season there's a home stand where you need a little help, I'd be happy to come in and do it, a few of those types of games. But because I've never, I worked for the Fan for 6 years, went to baseball games all the time. Even before that at Channel 11, and when I was working on Ardmore Boulevard many, many years ago, covered plenty of baseball, covered plenty of hockey. No real interest in going to NFL games anymore. So, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe, perhaps, but I just don't think so. Did I get a chance to cover the Steelers during the 70s? I was a child. I'm not that old. I'm only 56. I started covering the NFL in the early 90s. When I was first in college, I started covering a few games, was able to get some credentials to go to Browns games. In 92, I got to cover the Browns, Bills, and the Steelers because I was in Erie and we had access to all of those teams. And then, in my career, I worked on Ardmore Boulevard back in the mid-late 90s. They were the Steelers' flagship. Got a chance to, go to a few games then. And, in my talk radio career, no, I did not cover the Super Steelers of the 70s. But I do enjoy following Steel City Star on X. That's a great account, by the way. It's one of my favorite X accounts because that guy has, I think he works or worked at ESPN, and he had access to a ton of just highlights. And he's exclusively a Steelers content provider. Did I ever get a chance to meet Myron Cope? I actually worked alongside Myron Cope briefly at the end of his career. I actually got to do, so back in the late 90s, and they did it actually for many years. at AM 1250, the old news talk, 1250 WTAE. The station's still over there on Ormond Boulevard. I think it's a Radio Disney station, maybe. But back in the day when Myron Cope and Stan Savern and Bruce Kyden were doing shows, and Bill Hillgrove, and I think Tom McMillan back in the mid-'90s was there for a while. Ed Bouchette did an evening show for an hour during the football season. I worked over there as the evening guy before Mark Madden replaced me. And Mark had worked there for a few years, and then he left. I came in for a hot minute. I was there for about 10, 11 months. And then I was, removed, and Mark came back, and he's had an amazing career. I worked with Cope and did a Steelers year in review show. You used to do it in January every year, right around the Super Bowl. It was usually after the AFC championships and the NFC championships games were done. And what they would do is they'd get all the talk show hosts together, and they put them in the studio on Ardmore Boulevard, and they'd just do like 6-8 hours of just straight sports. And there was always like 3 or 4 guys involved. And at least I think Albie Oxenreiter was there for a period of time when they did that. I don't know if John Steigerwald was there. I think John was at Channel 4 in the late 70s and then made the jump over to KDKA. I don't know if he was around when they did that, but I know Albie was over there for a period of time. I think he was involved in that briefly, maybe for a few shows. I think Guy Junker worked there early in his career. I think Guy might have actually participated in a few of those as well. But I got a chance to do an hour with Myron Cope. Okay, and I'll tell this story since you asked about me if I worked with Myron. So this is 1998, right? Myron's at the end, right? He was just doing like an hour a night on Mondays or Tuesdays. They had him on during the training camps in '98. But he only was doing like an hour, 1 or 2 nights a week. And we asked him to come in. Station management asked him to come in and do the year in review show. And he offered to do an hour. And he came in, and he was just unbelievable. He was so good. He was so entertaining. And he was getting ready to leave. And I was, I'm 28 years old at that time in my career. And I'm the evening guy. I was just thrilled to be there. I grew up about 1.5 miles from the station. And I said to Myron, you've got to stay for one more story. You've got to have a story or something and give us just a little bit more. I'm begging you. And he was like, I'll stick. I got a story for you. And he stuck around, and he told the story. I'm just paraphrasing, and it's not the whole thing, but he told the story about this one-armed Irish boxer, and it was just about the funniest thing I had ever heard. And there was one other moment where Hooters used to have a restaurant up in Wilkins Township, and they catered some food to the event. They brought some food down, and a couple of the waitresses or whatever you want to call them come in, and one of them had a belly shirt, and she had a stud in her belly button with like a diamond, it was like not an earring, but it was just a hoop with a couple diamonds on it. And she was standing right behind Myron, and he wasn't looking. And I said, "Hey, Myron, turn around and take a look at that." He turns and says, "Good gracious, girl, young lady, what is that exactly right there?" It was quite the moment. I wish I had that on tape. I really wish I would have had that on tape, or at least gone in and taken that and saved that somewhere. It was pretty amazing. He was. You can say what you want about Myron Cope, and some people don't like him. There are not many. I know Mark wasn't thrilled with him, but I appreciated what little time I got with him. He was, he's an icon for sure. One more comment from Mean Green before we wrap up the show. Always great to talk Steelers, talk with the Steeler fans about the good old days. Great memories. You've been following the Steelers since the mid-'70s. Hey, look, I have one memory of the Steelers winning their first Super Bowl. And I don't remember Super Bowl 10, but I certainly remember Super Bowl 13 and 14. So that's, I was like 9, 10 years old at that point in time. So I have a pretty good memory despite all the alcohol consumed and other extracurricular activities while in college. I still have most of my brain cells intact, and I can go back 45 years in terms of my memory, in terms of Steelers football. So I'm always open for that type of conversation. Okay, how quickly an hour goes here. I want to thank all of you that have been hanging out this evening, the handful of you that are here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please tell somebody about the show. Please tell somebody that they can come find us on social media for an hour, Mondays and Tuesdays, Steel City Sunday, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. But our live broadcasts are always on YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can always check us out on one of those. We are so pleased to have just about completed our first year of preseason shows. And like I had mentioned, I'm going to continue to do an hour a night for a few nights a week through the month of January. And then once I have my day schedule kind of figured out, and I'll have that figured out in the next few weeks, I have to go to South Bend, Indiana tomorrow and spend some time there, and in Indianapolis after that, and then down to Cincinnati for a Friday morning meeting. I'm on the move quite a bit during the daytime, but I know that by the end of this month, I'll have a pretty good idea of what my next 5 or 6 months are going to look like. And that's when we're going to announce more programming, and specifically me. I want to be able to do this 4 nights a week for at least an hour. I don't know if it'll be more than an hour. Because I have children, I have a wife, but this is just enjoyable for me, just to kind of kibitz and talk about what's going on in Pittsburgh sports. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap this one up. I do appreciate your time here this evening on our little broadcast. Again, don't forget, Steel City Sunday, 3 p.m., this coming Monday, live North Park Lounge, Richland, and the Hilltop Event Center. We have the entire crew: Jerry DePaula, John Fedko, Mike Osti, Paul Zeiss, Bill Akins. We'll have Anthony Halkeas, Zig Fracassi, our NFL insider from SiriusXM's NFL Radio, will be with us as well. I've got a massive YouTuber called Urinating Tree coming on. Also, he's got almost 700,000 subs on his channel. Tree, as he likes to be called. He's a local guy. He started a gaming channel many years ago, and then he shut it down for 4 years, and then he popped up in 2016 and started doing unique sports takes, changed his handle to Urinating Tree, and now he's got like 700,000 subscribers. And he's going to come on our pregame show on Monday, and I'm pumped. I'm like, I can't believe he said yes. He's like, why wouldn't I say yes? And a great attitude, great story. I don't want to get into, personally who he is. I'm going to call him Tree, and I'm just excited. I really am, because somebody like that who's been doing it for quite a long time on YouTube, he's got like 600-700 million views on his channel. It's pretty awesome. All right, folks, thanks for joining me this evening. My name is John Phillips. We'll be back at you on Monday, 3 o'clock, North Park Lounge, Richland Hilltop Event Center with Steel City Sunday. Until then, we'll talk to you on Monday.